Arnold Schwarzenegger reveals the 6 actors he regretted working with. In Hollywood, power often masquerades as charm. On screen, everyone smiles. Off-screen, when the cameras stop, is the real test. Legacy is not just about the roles you take. It's molded by the people you share the frame with. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the iron-willed icon who conquered bodybuilding, Hollywood, and politics, has lived inside more worlds than most men ever glimpse. From Conan the Barbarian to the Terminator, his image became mythic. Strength, discipline, control. Yet even legends carry regrets. For behind the explosions and one-liners were partnerships that bruised more than egos. Some co-stars tested his patience, others his trust. A few reminded him that fame and respect do not always coexist, even under blinding lights and million-dollar cameras. Hollywood loves to rewrite history, smoothing over friction with nostalgia. But Arnold has never been one for pretending. Over the years, in interviews and off-the-cuff remarks, he has let slip the names of colleagues he wishes had stayed out of his frame and the stories behind why some were clashes of discipline, others of ego, and some simply too much chaos to contain. Each left its mark on him and on the films that defined an era. These are the 6 actors Arnold Schwarzenegger admitted or implied he regretted working with, and the lessons their names still carry in his story. The rival who made collaboration a contest was number 1, Bruce Willis. Cameras snapped brotherhood as Arnold Schwarzenegger joined Bruce Willis and Sylvester Stallone to build Planet Hollywood. Off-screen, egos clashed. Willis's cool detachment met with Arnold's disciplined warmth. The chemistry froze. Arnold admired confidence, but loathed arrogance, and Willis had lots of it. Their partnership blurred into rivalry. 2 men too similar to share the spotlight. When their friendship faded, Arnold joked that Bruce liked to fire the gun off-screen too. The competition never ended, just went silent. To the public, they were allies in legacy. 2 veterans selling nostalgia wrapped in muscle and wit. But beneath the surface, the contrasts were sharp. Arnold approached business like battle, punctual, precise, loyal. Willis preferred to improvise, to test patience as much as limits. One assistant remembered, Arnold ran it like a campaign. Bruce treated it like jazz. That difference was harmless at first. Arnold liked control, Bruce liked freedom. But in time, the rhythm broke. The men who once toasted each other in press photos began taking separate flights, giving separate interviews, avoiding shared stages. Arnold saw professionalism as respect, and Willis's indifference an insult. Crew members remember how Arnold would still show up early, shake hands with lighting techs, and say, "Everyone here deserves discipline." For him, discipline was gratitude in motion. The split deepened when The Expendables returned to theaters. Willis's sudden exit over pay demands turned an uneasy friendship into an unspoken feud. Stallone fired the first public shot, but Arnold did not need to. He said only later, loyalty should never come with a price tag. Arnold valued the mission above the man. Willis, brilliant and unpredictable, valued his own pace. Their paths, once intertwined, drifted toward opposite ideals of fame, one built on work ethic, the other on detachment. For Arnold, the regret was not about money or movies. It was about respect lost between equals. A friendship forged in strength had crumbled under ego, and that to him was the real failure. Number 2, Val Kilmer, the genius who refused direction. Arnold respected talent, but worshipped discipline. Val Kilmer, known for brilliance and rebellion, embodied the opposite. When rumors linked them through Batman and Robin circles, Arnold quietly distanced himself. Kilmer's intensity, once praised, often dissolved into conflict on set. Arnold saw chaos where he prized control. To him, great acting meant precision, not volatility. He once said, "He's brilliant but unpredictable." It was respect mixed with relief. Their paths diverged before they could clash. Hollywood was enamored with the mystique of Val Kilmer back in the 1990s. He was mercurial, equal parts genius and grenade. Directors appreciated his dedication, but crews whispered about his volatility. Arnold, a man of structure and command, looked on such a reputation with silent skepticism. To him, a film set was a military unit hierarchy, timing, and precision. Kilmer's habit of questioning direction ran against that order. On Batman Forever, rumors of tussles between Kilmer and director Joel Schumacher were as common as the forecast of rain in England, making Kilmer appear as a perfectionist turned provocateur. Arnold reportedly told the producer, "You can't build teamwork on turbulence." As Batman and Robin began production, Arnold signed on as Mr. Freeze, replacing Kilmer, who left the franchise. A source close to the franchise said at the time that the decision was a relief for both parties. Arnold would later insinuate that every great set needs rhythm, and some actors, no matter how talented, disrupt it by orbiting their own gravity. The creative chaos of Kilmer fascinated him, but also served as a warning. There was no denying Kilmer's Genius the Doors, Tombstone, heat roles that required a certain level of intensity. That same energy often fractured collaboration. Arnold liked control, not because he wanted to be the boss. It was respect for everyone behind the glass. Kilmer's fire threatened that harmony, and Arnold never forgot it. They remained cordial but distant. Arnold's admiration endured, always from afar, a salute to talent uncontained. To him, genius without control was power without purpose. And Val Kilmer, for all his brilliance, was proof that mastery demands restraint. Number 3. Sharon Stone, the storm that never stayed calm. Their chemistry ignited the screen and tension off-screen on Total Recall. Sharon Stone's determination was matched by Arnold's power, but their working styles collided. Long shooting days, demanding choreography, and creative clashes left bruises beneath the professionalism. Arnold called her as tough as the stunts we did, a compliment laced with exhaustion. When filming ended, both left with respect but not affection. For Arnold, Stone was proof that strength without steadiness could turn every scene into a battlefield. Stone was one of Hollywood's most incendiary rising stars, sharp, intelligent, and unafraid to challenge direction. That fearlessness gave her performances fire, but also friction. On the set of Total Recall, she fought for creative freedom. Arnold favored precision and efficiency. He treated filmmaking like engineering. She treated it like art. The result was electric on camera and exhausting off. Crew members later described the mood as intense, professional, and occasionally volcanic. Arnold admired Stone's fearlessness, but found her unpredictable energy tough to contain. During one rehearsal, a disagreement over a fight scene escalated into a shouting match only to be followed by laughter minutes later. It was chaos that produced chemistry, two forces too strong to surrender. Arnold said later privately, she could light up the screen or the whole set. By the time the film was released, their performances were lauded, but neither actor sought out another collaboration. Arnold's thoughts on Total Recall were often tinged with a quiet tone of exhaustion, admiration for her energy, but also gratitude that their collaboration ended there. For Arnold, Stone epitomized the paradox of power, charisma without calm, brilliance without restraint. She was the reminder that even in a world made of control, unpredictability has its own magnetism. Arnold left with admiration, not animosity, but also with a quiet lesson that storms on set, the fiercest of them, aren't always explosions or gunfire. Sometimes they're human and unforgettable. Number 4. Eddie Murphy, the comedy king, who wouldn't share the spotlight. Studios fantasized about putting Eddie Murphy's energy together with Arnold's precision, but that never happened. Talks about Beverly Hills Cop 4 fell apart amidst creative differences and bruised egos. Arnold said once, "Not everyone wants to be part of a team." The contrast was that Murphy was living on spontaneity, while Arnold controlled everything. One sought chaos, the other order. The collaboration dissolved before it started, leaving in its wake a quiet lesson in contrast. Two masters of dominance who couldn't find rhythm in the same frame. In the late 1980s, Murphy ruled comedy while Arnold ruled action. Studios saw potential in merging their worlds. Humor meets heroism. But behind closed doors, they could not align. Arnold approached scripts like blueprints. Every line rehearsed, every movement calculated. Murphy trusted instinct, improvisation, and the magic of the moment. And so, when producers suggested blending the two, sparks flew before cameras could roll. Arnold would later comment, "There's a lack of humility in collaboration. That's also something Hollywood doesn't often reward." Murphy was a performer who commanded the spotlight. He did not share well. Their brief negotiations ended in tension and silence. One producer remembered it best. It was like trying to mix fire and iron. They both burned too hot. Over time, mutual respect replaced rivalry. Arnold praised Murphy's charisma, but admitted their temperaments were worlds apart. To him, success meant discipline and structure. To Murphy, it meant liberation. The difference was not personal, it was philosophical. Years later, as Beverly Hills Cop 4 finally neared revival without him, Arnold reflected that some partnerships fail not from animosity, but from too much individuality. Both men had built empires on certainty. There simply was not room for two generals on the same set. Arnold admired Murphy's brilliance, but understood the cost of unrestrained freedom. For him, cinema was a mission. For Murphy, it was a playground. And between those two visions, collaboration was never possible. Number 5. Sylvester Stallone, the brother-turned-battlefield rival. In the 80s, the rivalry between Stallone and Schwarzenegger was the stuff of Legend 2 titans, measuring muscle, money, and masculinity. Arnold once tricked Stallone into accepting "Stop, or my mom will shoot," later calling it a good laugh, but not my finest move. The feud burned for years until time cooled it into friendship. Still, their early battles left their scars. Beneath the later jokes lay the truth. Competition made them icons, yet almost cost them their humanity. Their on-screen runs became the industry's favorite spectacle in that high-testosterone world of 80s Hollywood. Every blockbuster, every magazine cover, and every opening weekend was a silent duel. Stallone was the street fighter, Arnold the strategist. When one raised the stakes, the other answered. Their one-upmanship drove record profits and private resentment. Agents, producers, and studio heads fueled the contest, knowing audiences loved watching two alphas collide for cinematic dominance. Arnold later conceded envy was the shadow of their success. "We both wanted to be number one," he said. "And there's only room for one." They were not enemies. They were mirrors reflecting each other's ambition and insecurity. Years of competition taught them both what fame could take. By the time The Expendables united them on screen, they had matured into survivors, not rivals. Arnold once told friends that Stallone was the only rival who could understand the pressure of being a symbol. That shared weight turned conflict into compassion, ego into empathy. Their story became a Hollywood parable. Two warriors discovering that ego builds empires, but humility keeps them standing. Arnold's regret was not the rivalry itself. It was the silence between the battles, the lost moments of brotherhood that success demanded. In the end, they learned the hardest truth of all. Legacy means nothing if you stand on the podium alone. Number 6. George Clooney, the charm that melted discipline. Batman and Robin should have united two icons. Instead, it became chaos. Arnold brought precision to his Mr. Freeze. Clooney brought detachment to his Batman. The production spiraled, and later Arnold would say, "Leaders don't laugh when the ship sinks." Clooney's humor masked frustration, but for Arnold, it was avoidance. When the film flopped, Arnold carried the blame in silence. To him, professionalism meant ownership, and charm, however disarming, was no substitute for discipline. Arnold came onto the project expecting the same precision that defined Terminator 2. Instead, he found creative confusion, too many opinions, not enough command. Clooney, Hollywood's new darling, was leading with warmth and wit, diffusing tension with laughter as the production unraveled around them. To Arnold, structure was safety. To Clooney, it was restriction. Crew members remembered Arnold's intensity as unrelenting. Clooney's levity seemed almost reckless in contrast. To Arnold, leadership meant accountability. Clooney believed in ease, trusting charm to bridge chaos. The contrast was not just personal, it was generational. Hollywood was shifting from muscle to irony, from stoic heroes to self-aware ones. When reviews came, Clooney deflected with jokes, softening the blow. Arnold, the soldier at heart, stayed silent. "You never abandon your crew when the mission fails," he said later. Their clash was not one of animosity, but of ethos. Arnold believed greatness demanded sacrifice. Clooney believed it demanded humanity. Both were right, and both were wrong. Years later, Clooney would grow into a filmmaker obsessed with structure, the very discipline Arnold once embodied. Batman and Robin became their cautionary tale, a lesson in tone and teamwork. Arnold saw it as proof that charisma without command breeds chaos. For Clooney, it marked a turning point toward purpose. And for both, it stood as a reminder that leadership is not about being liked. It is about staying steady when the lights start to flicker. Ultimately, regret is not about hate, it's about recognition. Arnold Schwarzenegger's musings on those 6 names reveal something deeper than battle. They expose the fragile architecture of collaboration. Hollywood celebrates perfection, but it is built on compromise. And compromise, for men like Arnold, has always been the toughest role to play. Each of these partnerships, broken, bruised, or unfinished, shaped the discipline that defined him. Beneath the fame and power, his regrets were human ones. Misplaced trust, misunderstood respect, moments when strength overshadowed empathy. Legacy is not carved from victories alone. It is shaped by the lessons left in defeat. So what do you think? Which revelation surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more untold stories from Hollywood's hidden history, subscribe for the next chapter. Because behind every legend, there is always the truth they tried to forget.